After 2 early season losses, there now is a sense of urgency in New York as the Giants find themselves desperately in need of a win to give their season its first step forward. In Green Bay, the Packers have been rejuvenated. After a hard-fought win against the divisional rival Chicago Bears, the Packers may have found their true identity. An identity that could bring smiles to Titletown very soon. Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. An absolutely perfect day for football. It's cool, clear, a sold-out house. It's the biggest, the New York Giants, the biggest city that is, against the smallest city that is, the Green Bay Packers. And John, this is sort of the cradle of pro football. You really get the feeling when you get here. The Giants, Dan Reeves, the head coach, comes off a season that he started at 0-2, the first time ever in his history, his association with pro football. Last week, they went into Kansas City looking for confidence. They didn't get it in the overtime loss. Where do they stand right now?
Well, they still don't have any confidence because the thing that you have to do to get confidence is get a win, and you're not going to get that. You know, success breeds success, and you don't get the confidence till you get the win. Now, what Dan Reeves did this week is he did everything that he can to try and help his team get in position to get that win. In fact, when they came back, the whole team watched the game film for 4.5 hours. They all watched it together so that everyone saw what everyone else did. They had harder practices. They got the defense flying to the ball. Anytime there was a ball on the ground, guys would jump on it. He tried to go back to fundamentals, more play passes, and just give them a better chance to get that first win. Then when they get that, then maybe they can get some confidence.
And the Packers are absent one of the great players to play this game, Sterling Sharp. Are they over that loss?
Well, they're never going to be over the loss of Sterling Sharp because he's such a great player. But as Mike Holmgren says, without Sterling Sharp, we now have to use the system. And the system just spreads people out, and Brett Favre has done that. In the first 2 games, he has hit 8 different receivers in each game, and that's what he has to do today.
So, coming up next on Fox, it's the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers from Lambeau Field. John and I will be back for the opening kickoff when Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages from your local station.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
Temperature is 56 degrees. The winds out of the north at 9 miles an hour. Partly cloudy, a high today in Green Bay of 62. The Packers won the toss. D'Aluiso to kick it off to Jervy and Freeman. Travis Jervy and Antonio Freeman deep. It's Antonio Freeman for the Packers with some room. Freeman out of bounds, slung out at about the 43. Let's have a look now at Green Bay's offense, led by Brett Favre. In front of him, Rutgers, Taylor, Winters, Galbraith, and Earl Dotson, who did an excellent job last week. Edgar Bennett would get the bulk of the ball carrying. Dorsey Levens in the backfield with him. Morgan Brooks and Mark Shimura. Starting at tight end, that comes as a pleasant surprise for Mike Holmgren and the Packers. Ingram and Morgan are split wide. Favre rolls right. Dumps it to Dorsey Levens. Got about 7. Let's look at the Giant defense. 4-man front, Strahan, Agnew, Hamilton, and Harris. The linebackers, Kroll and Miller outside, and Brooks in the middle. Secondary, Randolph, Glenn, Campbell, and Sparks. 2nd and 3, Packers. Ingram split wide left. Robert Brooks is to the right. Favre to Bennett. Maybe a yard. Jesse Campbell up to make the stop.
Yeah, we were talking about things that the Green Bay Packers want to do, and now without Sterling Sharp, without signing Keith Jackson, one is spread the ball around when they pass, but the other thing is run the ball more. And for years, they've been talking about having to do that. And one of the things they did in the offseason is move Edgar Bennett from fullback to tailback, and he had a big game the other night against the Bears.
He's a very good short yardage runner. 3rd and 1. He's back there by himself.
This looks like a passing situation here.
Favre. Brooks. If it's a catch, it's enough for a first down.
That's one thing you have to like about Brett Favre. He looks like he's just playing out in the playground or something. He goes back, there's nothing there. He got that 3-step drop. He has nothing to throw to, so he just drops a little further, goes back, and then says, oh, what the heck, there's Brooks, I'll find him.
I think that's the way he plays the game, like it's a playground.
I know it. He's from Kill, Mississippi, and he was playing high school football when he was still in grammar school. High school baseball when he was in grammar school.
Here's Favre back. Brooks batted away at the last second by Jesse Campbell. Brooks and Favre hooked up on Monday night for a 99-yard touchdown completion.
See here, we see this cover 2 here. See, this corner lets him go, so Brooks gets between these two, so the safety has to get over there to make that play. And Favre is trying to hit Brooks right in the middle of it, but number 37, Jesse Campbell, gets over and makes that. That's that cover 2, that zone we see all the time. Corner comes up, safety has the deep, Campbell was the deep.
The Giants have played it forever. It's 2nd and 10. Favre again. Across the middle. Pass complete to Antonio Freeman as they move close to the Giant 30.
And you don't want to let Brett Favre get off to this kind of start. Where he comes, he has good pass protection. The Giants haven't gotten close to him yet, and where he can find guys and throw the ball like this, if you give Brett Favre, in fact, if you give any NFL quarterback time, he's going to eat you up. But Brett Favre, if you give him time early, he's going to get a heck of a lot of confidence.
19 yards he got on that completion. Bennett. Corey Miller made the penetration.
Yeah, that's the thing that Miller does best, is play that run. There's been a lot of stink whether he's just going to play or Marcus Buckley's going to play. Dan Reeves said he'd like to have Corey Miller in there against the run because he's very good on the tight end against the run, and Buckley is better against the pass. Last week, remember, at the end of the game in an overtime, Buckley was in there and Miller was on the bench.
Right. Much talk about that in New York this week. Favre to Bennett on the draw. Inside the 25, about the 23. First time the Packers have had the ball, no score yet. 11-13 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, Stacy Dillard had been in there for Keith Hamilton, and not sure exactly what happened to Hamilton, but I just saw him come back on this play here. I think one thing the Giants do is they rotate a lot of defensive players, but I don't think they meant to take Keith Hamilton out that early.
3rd and 4 now. They've got 6 defensive backs in the game. 3rd and 4 for the Packers is a passing down. Favre with his rollout hits Mark Shimura, the tight end. Run out of bounds by Maurice Douglas. That's the play you see everybody run now.
And these guys run it as well as anyone. I mean, this is that San Francisco play. It's going to be the bootleg where you fake to the back, fake to the back, running to the left, then you bootleg out to the right, boom, and you hit your tight end quickly. But that's the thing. This is great mixture on this drive. Mike Holmgren scripts the plays the way the 49ers do, and this first script is working pretty well.
He calls them all.
And he's hit 4 different receivers so far.
Favre. Touchdown Ingram. The ex-Giant. $11 yards. Favre to Ingram. Packers lead it.
And the 5th receiver on that drive. We talked about how he moves it around. First 2 games hit 8 different receivers. Here's Mark Ingram right here. He's just running a slant. Then he starts up the field. He starts across on a slant, then across, and then right up. He ended up on a linebacker. Mike Kroll had to pick him up.
Craig Hendrick, the punter, with Ty Detmer holding, kicks the extra point. And the Packers take the opening kickoff and turn it into a 7-0 lead.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Coors Light. Shipped cold to preserve the clean taste of the Rockies. Coors Light, tap the Rockies. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By IBM, solutions for a small planet. And by Smith Barney, a member of the Travelers Group. Smith Barney, they make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it.
Lambeau Field, the home of the Packers. Green Bay's scoring drive, 9 plays, 59 yards. Touchdown pass from Favre to Ingram. Favre 5 out of 6 on that opening drive. Packers lead it 7-0. Borgononi to kick off. Chases Tyrone Wheatley all the way to the back of the end zone where the Giants will down it. Flag on the play. A flag on the play.
I was down there in the area where the Giants would be blocking. It wasn't in the area from where Borgononi kicked the ball.
Infraction on the play. The ball was already down in the end zone. First down.
Johnny Greer. No infraction. Dave Brown opens at quarterback. In front of Dave, Elliott Bishop, Brian Williams, Lance Smith, and Riesenberg. Spending more and more time together should be more effective. Hampton, Sherrard, Callaway, Cross, and Pierce. Sherrard split wide left. Callaway to the right. Herschel Walker in the backfield. Brown to Walker. To about the 25. Here's a look at the Packer defense. And they feel confident in this group. Mike Holmgren was saying to us yesterday, I think we have a good defense. Jones, Yurkovich, Wilkins, and Reggie White. Kuntz, Strickland, and Wayne Simmons, the linebackers. Evans, Teague, Butler, and Craig Newsom. 2nd and 4. They got 6 yards. The completion from Brown to Walker. Brown back. Mike Sherrard short of a first down by about a yard.
This is the area that the Giants are really concerned about is their 3rd down conversion. And again, I think if they can get in these situations, 3rd and short, they're going to pick up a lot more first downs. Where they really have trouble is 3rd and more than 5 yards. Because they don't have a lot of passes to go 7 or 8 yards.
They need 1 in this case. Walker and Hampton, the 2 backs. Rodney Hampton surges up for about 6 yards on the carry. George Teague finally dragged him down.
Yeah, Rodney Hampton is just so big and strong and powerful that when he gets going and he hits that hole, boom, he gets hit here, and then he just has that lunge that'll just pick up another 5 or 6 yards. Watch him as he hit the hole. He's back about 5 or 6 yards, so he gets a pretty good run at it. Then he cuts, and they have him right there, and then he just makes that lunge right there and picks up 3 or 4 more yards.
He goes 230. Brown, Walker, cut down by Newsom. That was part of the Giants' plan, get the ball and utilize Herschel Walker more.
Yeah, but they had Craig Newsom, and he's out there. He's a rookie cornerback, #1 draft choice for the Green Bay Packers. If that were a man coverage, that would have been okay, because he's on the wide receiver, but he's playing zone. So he's bumping, and he hits his zone, and he sees Herschel coming all the way. That's why that was only a 1-yard gain.
2nd and 9. Sherrard on the move. Brown Protection's good. Howard cross into Packer territory to about the 45. Dragged down by Leroy Butler.
The first thing you have to do is get good pass protection. Now the Packers go down and score. Now the Giants have to come in and they have to take control of this. But watch this pass protection. The tackles do a good job. They just ride the ends out. They stop the inside guys so that Brown could step up. Now that's what you have to have.
18 yards. On first down, it's Hampton. Tripped up after about 4.
One of the things that Dan Reeves was saying that in his play calling, he feels that he has to get more confidence in Dave Brown and more confidence in just passing the ball and being able to go the mixture. I mean, he says that the Giants, and it's true, they aren't really good enough to just be a running team, nor are they good enough to just be a passing team. The only chance they have is to really keep you off balance and have balance themselves.
So far on this drive, they've had it. Hampton drives for a couple. Yurkovich on the bottom of the pile for the Packers.
He'll usually be in the bottom of the pile, and Reggie White will usually be at the bottom of the pile, and that time Sean Jones, the other end, got in there. Now there's a nose tackle.
It looks like a nose tackle.
John Yurkovich, that's the way a nose tackle ought to look. And he plays like one ought to play. You go in there, plug up that run. I did my job, coach. Now let those pass rushers get in there.
A good name for a nose tackle, too. Third down. 3 wide receivers. Packers expecting pass, and they're going to get it. If Brown has time, and he's got a lot of time. Won't get the first. That took him maybe out of Daluiso's field goal range as well. Here comes Mike Horan.
And maybe Dan Reeves loses a little more confidence that he may have started to gain in Dave Brown, because that was just a coverage sack. I mean,
he had good protection.
Yeah, he had good protection. He had time, but either there was no one open or he couldn't find anyone that was open. But it looked like good coverage from here.
Freeman and Pryor back deep for the Packers. Mike Horan, the punter. Sailing deep and into the end zone. The Giant player, the player was there. Willie Beeman. And he fell down looking back for the ball.
And he could have caught that ball.
So they'll bring it back to the 20. The Packers lead the Giants 7-0.
Yeah, we were talking about that third down play and a coverage sack, and this is what a coverage sack is. We'll take it to the point where Dave Brown is ready to throw. He moves out here, and now he's throwing. If we could just stop it here, this is what he's looking at. Coverage here, coverage here, coverage here, coverage here. He had no one open to throw to.
Packers take over at their own 20. They lead 7-0. Edgar Bennett. Not much room. Right now, for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studios.
All right, Pat, Saints look impressive on their opening drive. Jim Everett pumps once, finds Quinn Early. 70-yard touchdown strike as he beats the secondary. That's Quinn Early's longest of his career. Saints on top, 7-3. Let's take it back to Pat and John.
Packers on top, 7-0 here at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Brett Favre, the quarterback. Bennett, very deep. Did he ever get a running start?
He had to run 7 or 8 yards before he got to the line of scrimmage. You know, the advantage of that is if you can't be patient, then you just get deeper. And then by the time you get to the line of scrimmage, you're going to let the defense act or react, and then you're going to be able to go against their reaction. That's what Bennett did on that play. But you hear the Giant defense before the play, they were all yelling, run, run, run. It's a run. So they had a key that told them it was a run.
58.
Third about 2.
This is a pass.
Favre. Intended for Levens. Harris right in his face.
Yeah, Robert Harris wasn't going to hear about that. I mean, he's going to, now as a bootleg comes out here, boom, he's going to get right up the field. He doesn't go. You see, they try and influence him, and Harris just goes straight up the field, and he's not going to let Favre come out on that bootleg anymore. He did it once or twice early, but he's not going to go for that fake anymore.
Craig Hendrick back to punt. Gary Harrell deep for the Giants. Hendrick gets off a rocket. Harrell all the way back to the 11-yard line. Down at the 10 as he started to retreat to get around the corner. He couldn't make it. Lenny McGill. The Packer coverage is good. 61-yard kick. Packers put the Giants back deep. A long way to go, and they lead it 7-0. Back at Lambeau Field, Pat Summerall, John Madden, 7-0. Cheese country.
Yeah, you need more of that, don't you, Pat?
Yeah.
Huh? The old cheesehead. How you do? Give me something in like 7 3/8 and a cheddar.
Yeah, like a Swiss.
Yeah. I want a 7.5 and a Limburger.
They'll know you're coming.
They'll know where you've been.
Here's Rodney Hampton. Up to make the stop is Newsom.
One of the things the Giants wanted to do is get balance, and you know, we're just starting this game here, but they have 4 runs and 4 passes, so Dan Reeves is doing that.
Dan calls the plays, and on the other side of the field, Mike Holmgren calls all the plays. That doesn't happen too often. You got both coaches calling plays for their quarterbacks. Brown fakes, back to throw it, flag on the play. Going deep too far. Intended for Callaway.
Hey, there's a penalty right there. It's going to be holding against the Giants. You see the nose tackle, Big John Jurkovich. He's in there. And he knocked Brown down just as he threw that ball.
Reggie White in conversation with Johnny Greer will take that penalty.
Holding. 59. Offense. Still second down.
And he's probably, that's why Jurkovich was clapping. I thought he was clapping because he knocked Brown down. He was probably clapping because he was the guy. Here's Brian Williams. Here's Jurkovich here. And Brian Williams is a guy that gets caught for holding. See him holding right there as Jurkovich goes to get by. Jurkovich hits Brown just after he throws it. So he did about 3 things for an old nose tackle. That ain't bad.
2nd and 14.
This is where you better block Reggie White.
Reggie White forced Brown to run with the ball. White came around the corner. Brown took off, a flag on the play. They might have hit him late.
Reggie White's the all-time sack leader in the NFL. And when you get a guy in 3rd and long, I'll guarantee you every pass rusher says this is my world here.
I think it might have been George Kuntz.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 53. Defense. First down.
You're right. It was George Kuntz. And you see what happened? That Dave Brown did that last week in Kansas City. He went feet first. Now he's supposed to have protection when he goes feet first that he can't be hit. Now last week the same thing happened. He got speared after he went foot first.
No call.
No call, but a fine.
Right.
This week they got the call.
Here's Brown back to throw. Sherrard coming across. Stopped by Leroy Butler after a gain of about 4 or 5.
And those are the things that kill coaches. I mean, you get them backed up, and then you get a good pass rush against him. You flush him out, and he doesn't have a first down. He's nowhere near a first down. He goes just like, you don't have to jump on that guy. You can just put a hand down. You know, you can just do anything.
Or you can hit the ground.
And that's why I'm up here and those guys are down there. I will guarantee you.
Outside blitz, and the Giants pick it up nicely. Incomplete pass. Mike Sherrard, the intended receiver, that came all the way with a corner blitz.
That was interesting. You don't see that much. Doug Evans is a corner out here. Now watch him. He's covering here, and he just takes off on a blitz from that position. So you can't block that guy because there's no one that thinks, hey, he has to be out there covering. There's no one watching him. Lucky the back does see him and comes back and just picks him off enough. But he had to come a long way to get there.
3 wide receivers for the Giants this time. And Brown back to throw. Incomplete. No one there. Watch Reggie White.
Well, part of that is the pass rush. Part of it is good coverage. Part of it is that the Giant receivers just aren't getting open. But on 3rd down, this is when Reggie White over the years has been the best, and he still is. He's going to be there. He's going to be going around the corner. You start going out, he'll go inside you. He'll club you. He'll do anything to you.
And you saw the Giants had 2 men on him, and he still got close. Horan the punt it. Antonio Freeman deep for Green Bay. Horan's kick is going to be a hanger. Out of bounds. Inside the 30. Reggie White. Seven 0. The Packers lead the Giants. 57 left in the first. Critics call it suspenseful, exhilarating, and terrifying. Get ready. You're just 5 days away from the season premiere of the program that's become more than just a television show. It's a national phenomenon. The X-Files, Friday at 9, 8 Central on Fox. They're up there somewhere.
Giants are yelling pass.
You're right. Brooks off his fingertips.
You know, that's the 5th first down pass that the Packers have had. I mean, they've passed every time on 1st down, and then what they'll do is they'll come back and run on 2nd down, and you know, just to keep you off balance. I mean, over the years, 1st down has always been a running down, and you know, the Packers and the 49ers and you know, coaches from that school try and make 1st down a passing down.
I love Dave Brown's answer yesterday when you asked him if they were going to throw more on 1st down. He said, I hope so. Here's Bennett. A lot of room in the 1st down Packers on a 2nd down draw.
Yeah, see, the Giants are going to figure that out pretty soon. That's how the Packers' game plan was to start the game, that they were going to pass every 1st down and then come back and run on 2nd down. That's not bad because it's worked so far. See, what they did is they went 4 wide receivers, and then they got the Giants to think pass rush and to think pass and to get them spread out.
And you saw they had Jesse Armstead in the game, so that means they're thinking pass.
Right, and then Edgar Bennett can just get back there and just pick a hole between those pass rushers.
Favre on 1st. Incomplete. Knocked away by, it was intended for Shimura.
And that was Michael Brooks out there. He played that well, the middle linebacker. He was going right over for the tight end. I think the Giants are going to figure it out pretty soon that every 1st down the Packers are pass. So you got to start playing 1st down instead of a run down. You play that as a pass down, then you get in 2nd down and you gang up against the run a little.
2nd and 10. Packers at their own 41. Favre back to throw on 2nd. Brooks outside the 45, 46. Half enough for a 1st down about. So that's the end of the 1st quarter. They'll swap ends at Lambeau Field, an absolute packed house. The Packers lead 7-0. Just by Lambeau Field is the Packer Hall of Fame, filled with, well, that's all about pro football. And there's some of them. This is Old Timers Day. There's Fuzzy Thurston, number 63. That great tandem he made at offensive guard during the Lombardi years with Jerry Kramer. None better.
When you come back here, you walk in here and it just feels like football.
Favre to throw it. Under pressure, setting up a screen, trying to, but the Giants had it read perfectly. Harris.
That was one of the things that the Giants worked on all week, is if there's a ball in the ground, everyone go jump on that thing.
Talk about a sold-out crowd, sold-out house. The luxury boxes up on top. The names: Don Hudson, Curly Lambeau, Johnny Blood McNally. Now, he was a character. Arnie Herbert, Vince Lombardi, of course.
Vince Lombardi was my idol. When I was a young coach starting out, I wanted to be just like Vince Lombardi.
You set your sights high.
I sure did.
And got there.
So, not where Vince Lombardi was.
Harold signals fair catch at the 10-yard line. Hendrick again does his work and pins him deep. 44-yard punt.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Warner Brothers' new motion picture, Assassins, starting Friday, October 6th at a theater near you. And by Aflac, insuring over 38 million people worldwide.
That's the street that goes by the stadium, Lambeau Field, named after Vince Lombardi.
And to me, Vince Lombardi, as I was saying earlier, was my idol. When I started coaching, I wanted to be just like Vince Lombardi, and I think he was the greatest pro football coach ever.
I had a chance to play for him for a very short time when he was an assistant with the Giants. This is a Giant timeout. No question, John, what you say. He was the greatest teacher of the game that I was ever around.
You know, talking about teaching, I remember when I was a young coach, I thought I knew it all, and I knew I could talk about like any play for 15 minutes, and I thought, you know, this is really football. I know football. I know plays. I know this.
Hey, I thought you knew it all.
Well, no, I mean, this is a long time ago. And so I went to a clinic in Reno, Nevada, like in 1963 or 1964, and Vince Lombardi spoke on one play, the Green Bay sweep, for 8 hours.
I've heard it many times.
And after that, after listening to Vince Lombardi for 8 hours, I had more respect for him than any man I'd ever known. And I said to myself, you don't know football.
I'll tell you what, this 60,000 plus crowd could be on their feet making a lot of noise, and he could walk onto the scene and they'd all be quiet.
Or even if they didn't make noise, you could probably still hear them.
Yeah, that's true. Herschel Walker, the ball carrier. Stopped by Yurkovich.
Well, anytime you run inside and you got a nose tackle like Yurkovich, he has to make that play. Now, conversely, if you're the Giants, anytime you want to run inside, you have to get that nose tackle blocked. And so far, Yurkovich has been winning that battle between he and Brian Williams.
They've moved Reggie White inside over the right guard. He's on the right side of the defense over the Giants left guard.
Over Greg Bishop, probably their weakest lineman.
And they double teamed him. Walker. For about 7 or 8, Doug Evans with the tackle.
Yeah, that's one thing they'll do with Reggie, is they'll move him around. You see him here. Now, here's Greg Bishop, and this is the guy they want to work on. But what do? They go boom, and they just double team Reggie. Brian Williams knows that he's there, so he comes over, and they just get 2 on him, and that's what you have to do. That's smart football.
And you better know where he is. There he goes again. Brown. Too high. Incomplete. 3rd down. They'll have to punt.
That was Matt LaBounty, who took Reggie's place as the left end that hit Dave Brown when he threw the ball. But you know, the thing about Reggie is he'll draw a crowd. You'll see he's lined up 8 times over the tight end, 4 over the tackle, 2 over this guard, and 3 over this guard. So far, he's lined up in 4 different locations.
And he likes it.
Yeah, first of all, you have to find him. Then you have to call your protection, and then you have to get him blocked.
Moran. High kick. Freeman back for the Packers. Eludes one. Another missed. Kozlowski finally made the stop. 13:23 left in the second quarter. Packers on top 7-0. TV Guide says the new Fox drama Strange Luck is cool and seductive. The X-Files couldn't ask for a better lead-in. Catch a brand new episode of Strange Luck Friday at 8 and 7 Central, right before the season premiere of the X-Files.
That looks like the panhandle of Texas when I go through that on the bus. Always looks like there's something. When you go through the panhandle of Texas, there's always something looming out there.
Favre scrambles. It is a catch. It is a catch by Brooks. Got both feet down. Favre's ability, plus the pickup by the Packers of the blitz.
Well, the thing is they pick up the blitz, but then that also forces Favre to get to the outside. He sees that, and he feels the blitz coming, the pressure coming from the inside, so he just outruns it. He says, there's too much stuff in there. I'm just going to go to the outside, and then on the run to the right, he can really zip that thing.
In Giant territory at their 49. 1st and 10, Green Bay. Edgar Bennett to the 45. Right now for a McDonald's game break. Let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
Hey, Pat, John was talking about handling the blitz. Take a look at Jeff George handling this blitz as he finds Terrence Mathis with the touchdown strike. We're all tied now with the Saints and the Falcons at 10. Back to Pat and John.
Back at Lambeau Field at 7-0 Packers. The Packers at the Giant 46 at 2nd and 6. Bennett and Levens behind Favre. Split backs this time.
22 Texas, he said. That's an audible.
Successful audible to Dorsey Levens. First down, I believe.
Yeah, Brett Favre saw something up there in the line of scrimmage, so he audibilized out of the play that was called. Went 22 Texas, and as you say, threw the ball to Dorsey Levens. That has to be at least the 6th receiver that he's hit, 6 different guys that he's hit. He's getting hot again. You know, he went for a period after that first drive. Then he went for a period where he kind of cooled off. He was like 1 out of 5, and now he's getting back into a rhythm here.
He even looks different walking.
Now, the worst thing about, I think you can do to Brent Favre is stir him up.
Bennett inside the 30, across the 30.
I think that's the play that Vince Lombardi talked about. Fuzzy Thurston, the old guard right there, used to run that play. I think that was a Green Bay sweep. That's what a sweep is. This is what it looks like if you're out here and you're Michael Strahan, you're trying to defend it. Both guards pulling, you get there behind those guards and you just cut off their blocks. That's like old Thurston and Kramer pulling out there and Paul Hornung running that Green Bay sweep.
Or Jim Taylor. This is Bennett. Good yardage again. Edgar Bennett down near the Giant 20.
That wasn't a bad move, moving Edgar Bennett from fullback to halfback. Because on that sweep, he looks like a halfback. He looks like run there. I know what Dan Reeves is thinking right now is that we can't play if we don't stop the run. And if we're going to stop the run, we got to stop this guy.
This guy used to be a lot bigger before they moved him to running back. He used to be 240, now down to about 220, 217 it said. Packers jump.
He always did catch a heck of a lot of passes.
Yep. Good hands. Like Mike Holmgren was saying yesterday. Well, let's listen to Johnny Greer first.
72, offense, still 2nd down.
Earl Dotson. There's a guy's really come on.
Well, he had a good game on Monday night against the Chicago Bears. The whole Green Bay offensive line was a little shaky in their first game against the Rams. Then they kind of got solid Monday night, and Mike Holmgren was impressed with that, and they've been solid so far in this game against the Giants.
2nd and 8. Passing down. Brooks in motion. It's Bennett. No passing down. Edgar Bennett almost broke it. Tripped up by Vincey Glenn.
Well, they ran that sweep to the left side where you pull both guards and just get in there behind them, and then they run it to the right side. This is what a sweep looks like. If you just look, they're going to pull this guard and this guard here, and then the halfback here, Edgar Bennett, you just get right in behind and cut off their blocks. You see, you pull both guards, they have motion coming back to the left, both guards pulling to the right. See, his guards got knocked off a little, and you try and get right in behind them, and as they make their block, just go right off it.
Here's Favre. Maybe. Favre out of one trap. Finally gets rid of it. Flag on the play.
I think there's a lot of flags out there. There was something downfield that had to be one of those illegal hands by an offensive or defensive back.
Defensive.
Maybe that's why he didn't throw the ball. You know, sometimes they'll pick up the flag in this, but I don't think that's right when they do.
Holding, 21, defense, first down.
Willie Beeman.
Yeah, you'll see Willie Beeman is right here. Now, this is one of the reasons that Brett Favre didn't throw the ball. You see, he just grabbed right there. Yeah, he had a hold. And that was the guy Favre was trying to throw to.
Freeman.
Well, Freeman started in. It was an option thing. If the guy plays him inside, then he's going to cut out. If the guy plays him out, he's going to keep going in. Beeman played in and then played the out by grabbing his shoulder.
First down, Green Bay. Favre. Brooks. Touchdown, Green Bay on the rebound. Brooks. Concentration, good hands. Call it what you want. It's a touchdown. 19 yards. Favre, second of the day.
Now watch out when Favre celebrates. Say, who's his go-to guy? It has to be number 87, Robert Brooks. Watch him. He's out here in Flippy Sparks. Sparks gets a bump on him. Brooks gets a step. Sparks hits the ball, and then Brooks gets it and keeps both feet in bounds.
Well done. Look out for Favre, as you said. Extra points by Hintrick, and it's good.
Luckily, he jumped on a big tackle. That time it was Ken Rutgers. It wasn't some little guy.
14-0. The Green Bay Packers on top. Green Bay on top of the Giants, 14-0, second quarter. That last Green Bay scoring drive, 7 plays, 62 yards. Brooks, the 19-yard juggling touchdown catch. But he did get possession and did get both feet down. This is Tyrone Wheatley, number 28. He's back there with Herschel Walker. Line drive kick is handled by Wheatley. He's handled by the Packers.
I was talking to the general manager of the Packers before the game, Ron Wolf, and I was asking him about Wheatley because no one has really seen Wheatley. He's a #1 draft choice of the Giants and had like 3 plays in preseason and has been hurt ever since. And I was asking him about him, and Ron says, well, one thing I know, if he gets in front of our guys, we don't have anyone on our team that's going to catch him.
And he's big. 6 feet, 230.
On the Giants.
He's also big.
They better start getting him blocked.
Reggie White, 6'5", 300. Pitch back to Rodney Hampton. Hampton swings for about 9 or 10. Knocked out of bounds by George Teague.
That's one of the things you want to do, I think, is to run away from Reggie White, because we know that he's the all-time leading sacker in NFL football, but he's also very, very good against the run. So by keeping him out here in that left side, then you can run the middle and you can run the other side. But you don't want to run at him, especially in short yardage and goal line. That's where he'll really eat you up.
Brown back to throw. Going deep, incomplete. No! What a catch by Mike Sherrard. It looked like it passed everybody.
What a throw by Dave Brown.
Yeah, and he came up with it. Watch this.
This is a guy that they missed last week, Mike Sherrard. Just having him out there with a little speed and being able to make plays. Sherrard can make plays, That's the thing.
Wow.
He gave Doug Evans a little push right at the end. You know, he's watching the ball, and then he gave Evans a little push right at the end and put his hands up there.
And then butted the official.
That was a great play by Mike Sherrard.
Tell you what. As Hampton surges down to the Green Bay 30. The Packers are 1-1. The Giants 0-2.
You know what the Giants have to do right now, Pat, I think, is just let it go. I mean, I think that, you know, they've been under wraps, you know, like they've had their jackets on or something. You know, it's like you got to, you know, like they got winter clothes on. I mean, you got to take them off, boom, you know, and just let it go. Just fire out and run and speed and just be aggressive. You know, don't wait for something bad to happen to you. Go out and make something happen.
Just play the game. Brown, incomplete. You know, like you were saying about Favre before, like he was playing in the playground. That's what the Giants have to do. Just play the game.
I think they have to get some of that going. I think that everything is too tentative. I think that last week they were conservative, and then they went more conservative at the end of the game. And then they just have to make plays like that. I mean, Howard Cross has to run through that ball. But they just have to go out, you know, and kind of have fun with the thing. You know, like it's a game, and just get in a game and just go out and whip someone. They're waiting for something bad to happen. 3rd and 5. That's exactly right.
Flag on the play. Brown pass bounces off Howard Cross. He's saying he was interfered with. It was knocked down by Wayne Simmons, who was over the shoulder of Cross. Let's see what Johnny Greer says. Yes. But I think the flag was gone before that.
Right. It's an offside penalty because it was on the other side, too. I think it's on the old nose tackle, Yurkovich.
Offside, defense, the nose tackle.
They don't even give him a number. They just call him down.
That guy.
Just call him the nose tackle. Just watch the nose tackle, just like everyone knows who he is in Green Bay. Oh, the nose tackle's off. Oh, that's old Yurkovich. Yurkovich shouldn't jump off sides. I mean, a nose tackle, in all due respect to all the 64s in the world, should never jump off side. You're right in front of the ball. You have to watch the ball move.
3rd and short. And that's Rodney Hampton for the first down Giants. Darius Holland made the stop.
This is where the nose guard has to play, because they're going to run right at the nose guard. Yeah, I mean, stuff has to happen in the middle. He's probably going to get double teamed. You see, he gets double teamed, gets spun around, knocked backwards. Pretty good blocking. You get that middle guy blocked like that, you're going to find a soft spot in short yardage.
At least get him turned like that.
They ought to pay nose tackles double salary.
Triple. Hampton. Burrows for a couple. And there he is again.
The old nose tackle, he makes a pretty good play. I mean, he really does, because he gets some penetration, and then he's able to get back, and then he's back laying in here. When you get flopping around in here, that will always foul up a running play. You see the nose tackle, and I watch him come across and get on this side of the line. You see, just flopping around there in their backfield made Rodney Hampton make that cut.
And why don't they call that a skill position?
Just look at the guy. Look at the name. Look at the position. Nose tackle.
On 2nd down, Brown. For Callaway, incomplete. Brown under pressure. The rush put on by Gabe Wilkins.
You know, somewhere I think the Giants on 1st down, instead of that run, I think that's where they have to get a little balance, I think, is when you get down in a position like this on 1st down, instead of going for that run, go for the pass then, because they aren't very good in these situations. 3rd down and more than 5 yards.
Brown back quickly to throw. Fires incomplete. And no flag. They're asking. Callaway is, but they're not going to get what they're asking for, and that's the penalty, the yellow flag.
I tell you, either the Giant receivers are not running good patterns and getting open, or this Packer defensive secondary has excellent coverage today, because on these passing downs, there's been very little room to throw the ball. When you watch Callaway here, I mean, he doesn't do anything. He's not open.
No.
I mean, he's just covered there the whole way by Craig Newsom, who's a rookie. I mean, he doesn't do anything. You try and throw the ball to him, you can't do it.
Galuiso with Maddox holding. 37 yards out. Galuiso's kick is good, and the Giants get on the scoreboard, 14-3. 5:46 left in the second quarter at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Forrest Gregg played the most seasons, 14 of them, by a Packer offensive lineman. Now, who would you say ranks number 2? Second.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Porsche. There is no substitute.
Galuiso to kick it off with the wind at his back. Short kick for him. Handled by Travis Freeman. I beg your pardon, it's Antonio Freeman. Travis Jervey back there with him. Keith Elias made the stop. Again, Forrest Gregg played the most seasons, 14 by Packer offensive lineman. Who ranks second? Did you have a guess? Is it number 1, Jerry Kramer, who's here? Number 2, Jim Ringo. Ken Rutgers, who's playing today. Number 4, D. Fuzzy Thurston, who's also here. So think about it. Rutgers is the offensive left tackle today.
And he's a 10-year veteran.
Right. 5. Incomplete. He really cut it loose. And here's your answer. I bet you very few people got the Aflac trivia answer. Charles Buckets Goldenberg played 13 seasons, 33 to 45, and there is Buckets.
You know, that's what we miss, I think, is great nicknames. Now, like, I mean, where are the Bucketses of the world and the Fuzzies and the...
Notice his number? 31. 31.
Old Buckets was number 31, huh?
Jim Taylor's number.
He was an offensive guard and probably a defensive guard.
Yeah.
One thing about Buckets, I bet he was hard to block, because he had, you could just tell by that stance, he had that low center of gravity, and it'd be hard to get underneath.
Buckets, I bet you spent a lot of time with those knuckles on the ground.
And you see this here, Buckets, I'll bet you didn't wear a face mask. Buckets probably had that leather helmet, the kind you would fold up and put in your back pocket.
Yep. It probably looked like a bucket, the helmet he wore. 3rd and 11. Far to throw it. Pass complete to Brooks. To the 35, about 2 or 3 yards short of the first down.
Yeah, that's that.
Sparks.
That's that trouble with this, West Coast offense. I really don't like that word, West Coast offense, but when they get in 3rd and long, they don't have a pass for that situation.
Yeah.
So they have 3rd down, they complete the pass, and then punt.
Then the punter, the only thing you do is the punter has a little bit more room. Craig Hendrick, who's done a good job so far. This one against the wind will hang up there a little bit. Carroll will handle it at the 25. Gets past 1. But the Packers special teams have done a good job. Marcus Wilson down to make the stop. When we game this morning, the parking lot and the stands were half full. The parking lot was all full.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, you can't even get in here at 9 o'clock in the morning, and this is a way to cook big old sausages. You cook them right in the beer, and then they have big old meat. I mean, these people up here know how to eat big stuff.
It even makes the beer taste better.
Yeah. I don't know what the heck that is. That one didn't belong in Green Bay.
Or on a grill.
What the heck was that?
Here's Rodney Hampton. And he gets a giant first down, stopped by the safety man, Leroy Butler. Think they know the camera's on?
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, and they know here that they cook sausages in beer.
Yeah.
We just pour a whole bunch of beer in, heat the beer up, and then put the big old sausages in it.
And the secret is you have to drink the beer.
Oh, after you cook the sausage?
Oh, yeah.
Hot beer? Do you really?
Yeah, sure.
I didn't know that. Oh, you dunk it in bread. Dunk
Got
it
a
in
little
cheese.
little grease in it. Yeah, you could dunk it. Here's Hampton again with a blocker in front. Midfield.
You know, every week there's something strange that shows up. Last week we had this. We had this dessert.
In a parking lot?
I know it. And I scratched it out like this and said, that doesn't belong in a tailgate.
Yeah.
And I got a letter from the lady. She was mad at me. She's a professional caterer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, from Kansas City. She's mad. I said, it's okay with that.
Here's Rodney Hampton again.
Hampton.
Well, ultimately, you get down to what the Giants believe they have to do to win, and that is run the ball.
But I think they also have to have balance. If you look on their first down efficiency, their key is 4 yards. And they've made less than 4 yards 3 times, more than 4 yards 8 times. So they're winning that first down efficiency. They're winning that battle. It's a third down that's giving them trouble.
Brown. Pass is batted down. He had a man open, but the big hand of the defensive lineman often get in the way. This time it was a linebacker, I believe.
That's what they try and do. They try and get in there and take away lanes.
Fred Strickland.
And you can see that the Strickland is the middle linebacker, and he's back there, and he sees the lane open. Now he knows that's a lane that Brown has to throw in, so he just moves into that lane and then gets up in the air.
2nd and 10. And now the situation they don't enjoy. I don't know who does. 2nd and long. Pass incomplete. No flag. Aaron Pierce, the intended receiver.
See, second is a little. Here's the tough one for him. You know, when they bend more than 5 2 times, this is where they have problems. I mean, they'd like to be less than 5, but when they get 3rd down and 10, now they have to throw the ball deeper than 10 yards to get a first down.
And now it's 3rd and long. 3 wide receivers. And they have not been successful in converting on 3rd down, except twice. The dump is off to Walker. Can't find a handle. Incomplete pass.
Now see what happened. I mean, that's that whole thing. You know, 3rd and 10. It really shouldn't scare you that much. I mean, to me, it's not that big a thing. You don't have to run a trick. You just go back there, get solid pass protection, throw the ball 12 yards. But they go, you know, on 2nd and 10, and they don't get anything, and then they try the screen, and that didn't work at all.
Mike Horan has punted 3 times. Freeman and Pryor back deep. Horan gets this one good and high. And the Giants should be able to down this one inside the Green Bay 5. And this time they get it done. There's a flag on the play back at the line of scrimmage.
You know, if there's anything that the Packers have really been upset with over the first 2 weeks of the season, it's their special teams.
This is going to be against the Giants and the Packers.
That's going to be a break for the Packers here.
A big break, because they had downed it inside the 5.
That was a signal for an illegal man downfield. Remember the rule on the punt, only the 2 outside guys can go when the ball snaps.
Legally downfield. Still 4th down.
Well, Dan Reeves kept talking yesterday about our execution being terrible. We just have to execute, and he was referring to the penalties last week against Kansas City.
And not making stupid mistakes,
right.
And that's one. Again, the only guys that can go are the outside guys, and the rest, this inside group can't go until the ball's kicked. And you see right there, that's what they're talking about.
Yep. A Freeman did a good job to get the ball back.
I think Freeman made about 3 mistakes on that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You talk about execution.
That was ugly.
And they'll start from the 4, 14-3.
On Fox NFL Sunday, it's doubleheader action with the Chicago Bears and Heisman Trophy winner Rashaan Salam face off against the Rams. Then Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin lead the Cowboys' attack against the Cardinals. It all begins next Sunday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
This is what it looks like if you're a rookie punt returner against a left-footed punter. Antonio Freeman calls for a fair catch. The thing goes away from he drops it. It bounces up to him. And then he said, oh, look at all these guys down here.
So the Packers take over, still deep in their own territory, back at their own 4.
He was on the 4. He shouldn't have even fair caught. He should have just let that go. You don't fair catch inside the 10-yard line.
That's Bennett. A little bit of room. Remember last Monday night against Chicago when the Packers were backed up like this?
Yeah, they went first down and got jammed on the run, second down and got jammed on the run. Then they ran this play, third down, fake a slant with a 3-step drop.
Wow.
To me, this was amazing. Then Robert Brooks just fooled Donnell Wolford and then outran him.
99 yards.
But to throw that off a 3-step drop out of your own end zone, a slant and go, that was a gutsy call.
2nd and 5. Edgar Bennett short of the first down by about 2 or 3.
You know, no one wants to take a timeout. I mean, the Giants take one now, but they should have. You see, when they got him down there in the 4-yard line, and what they should have done, you know, is pressed, and and trying to hold him, then go for a punt block, and then get a score before we go to this halftime stuff we're going to be going to.
When James Brown and Terry Bradshaw and Howie Long and Jimmy Johnson will bring you all the scores and highlights and their choice cuts of the week. So on the Dockers halftime report, that's coming up. 1 minute and 8 seconds left at Lambeau Field with the Packers leading the Giants 14-3.
The Packers are thinking here of getting a first down. The Giants, of course, are thinking of stopping them here and then taking a timeout. And then I would think you would go for a punt block. Then I would think that then you get another timeout that would use all their timeout, but they'd get a timeout at change of possession.
3rd and 2. Bennett and Levin behind Favre. Handoff is to Dorsey Levins, and there is nothing there for him.
And the Giants got to take timeout right now.
Keith Hamilton made the stop.
Yeah, that was a good defensive play by the Giants. That wasn't a very good offensive series by the Packers. Now I think the Giants have to get aggressive on this punt here. I think they either have to, go for a punt block, which I would think, because this guy has had 2 blocks so far.
Yeah.
So, he's thinking about that. I think everyone in this stadium is thinking about that.
And given time, Hendrick, the Packer punter, has gotten off a couple of real bombs today.
Yeah, and I would think, where they blocked the one last week was coming from Hendrick's right or the Giants' left. And I think I'd go after something like that. I'd load up on that and bring the heat on this punter right now.
Well, let's see if they try to do that or try to set up a return. You're right. I'd try to block it. They got Keith Elias lined up on the right side. They didn't really come after it, did they? Harrell lost it in the sun, I think. Ran away from it, and it takes a Packer roll.
The Giants can't do anything.
No.
Dan Reeves is checking the sun. He's like, what the heck is happening? I mean, he used all his timeouts. They got him stopped. I would have, you'd think they'd go for a more aggressive play on that thing.
14-3 the score here. The Packers lead it. A 57-yard punt.
Yeah, if you look at Harrell here, he's trying to shade his eyes right there. He just didn't see that. He did lose that in the sun.
Back to throw is Dave Brown. Incomplete. Intended for Aaron Pierce.
I think if you ask Dave Brown if he had a go-to guy or a guy that he had more confidence in than anyone else, it would probably be Aaron
Pierce. He sort of glows when he talks about him, doesn't he?
And Aaron Pierce plays an awful lot. I mean, he's a H-back. He's a second tight end. They line him up in the backfield like a halfback, a slot back. He's all over the place.
2nd and 10. Brown to throw it. Dumps it to Aaron Pierce. About a 2-yard pickup. Simmons wrestled him down to the ground.
In this situation, 2-yard pickups isn't going to get the job done. I don't understand it.
Now Brown moves Aaron Pierce over the left. 3rd and 7. Brown's going to scramble. And not get a first down. Cut down by Doug Evans. And now the Packers are going to take a timeout.
Yeah, the Packers now they ought to go for a punt block. And Reeves is thinking that was an ugly sight. I mean, they had him down there backed up to the goal line, and they used all their timeouts. They lost the ball in the sun, and then they can't come close to getting a first down. Well, the best thing for the Giants now being down 14-3 is going in at halftime and trying to regroup. Because they don't have any, they don't have any confidence. We talked about that earlier in the game, and they just can't seem to get unleashed. It's like I said, it's like they still got their hats and jackets on.
Well, you know, they had such high hopes and talked so highly about the chances for this year. And then the first play on defense, first time Emmitt Smith carries the ball on Monday night, he goes 60 yards for a touchdown. And since then, that confidence has entirely been gone. Horan back to punt.
Packers are coming on a punt block.
And they get it. And the Packers, Horan fumble the snap. And the Packers swarm on him with 6 seconds to go.
Now the Packers have a decision. Do you go for one or do you just kick a field goal right now?
Well, now kicking a field goal becomes a little bit of a challenge for them. Although Hendrick hit 2 on Monday night. And he's been handling the extra point chores. Let's see what they do here.
I would think just knowing Brett Favre, he's trying to talk Mike Holmgren into taking a shot. That was a bad snap. It bounced once and it looked like it hit Horan right in the face. But they're just going to come in and kick the field goal.
A new holder. Ty Detmer's the holder. Chris Jackie, by the way, has got a bad left hamstring, and he's missing the game entirely. So this guy, the punter, is pressed into the place-kicking duties. And Craig Hendrick misses. No good. They got the chance.
And now there's 2 seconds left.
Yep.
This is the ugly end of a half.
Yep.
See that? I'm sure that Mike Holmgren is thinking he probably could have taken one shot there. I mean, taking one quick, just a quick up. And I know Brett Favre was trying to talk him into it. Take a quick up, and hit it in the end zone.
And then he had a timeout. He had the timeouts left.
He had the timeouts, and but he decided with 6 seconds he didn't want to chance it. But they did get the kick, and now the Giants get one more play. And I think the Giants are just going to kneel down and go in the house.
Well, they have one offensive touchdown, that one last week against Kansas City, in 2.5 games.
They got to go in and not regroup. I think they have to go in and group.
They head for the locker rooms with the Packers leading the Giants by the score of 14-3. At Lambeau Field, 14-3, the Packers lead the Giants. We'll return here to Lambeau Field for the start of the second half after these messages from your local Fox station.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
In Green Bay, Packers 14, Giants 3. Teams are getting back from their locker room sessions. What do you think Dan Reeves had to say to the Giants at the half?
I don't know. Somewhere they just have to let it go. I mean, here they've played 2.5 games and they have 1 touchdown, and they just have to, I think, relax. I really think it's not that they're not trying hard. They're probably trying too hard, and I think they're trying too hard to not make a mistake. And in doing that, they're just not doing anything.
And of course, if you're Green Bay, you lead 14-3. There's always that danger of trying to protect the lead.
Yeah, and I think that Mike Holmgren knows that, and I think that Brett Favre is that kind of quarterback that's not going to protect the lead. In fact, in the second half, what you worry about Brett Favre is that he's going to go out there and maybe force something, and I'm sure that Mike Holmgren said, don't do anything stupid.
14-3, as we said, to score. The time of possession pretty even. Giants have the advantage. 10-7 Packer first down advantage. Total yards, not that much difference, but the score is the big factor. Dave Brown has put the ball in the air, and the pressure that he's been under so far. Sacked once.
Well, then you see the big thing. Yeah. Here's the big thing is he's been hurried 6 times and he's been knocked down 7 times. So hurried means he throws the ball before he's ready, and of course knocked down means that he throws the ball and he's knocked down. So, and that all comes under the category of being harassed. And he has been harassed, but he's had some drops. He's had some bad throws. And to me, the Giant receivers really haven't been running good patterns, or the Packer secondary is great in pass coverage because there aren't a lot of guys open.
And many times when he's been harassed, you just saw Reggie White. It's been by Reggie White.
Yeah, and Reggie White's been, lining up all over the place. He lines up at the left end. He lines up at the tackle. He lines up at the other tackle. And when things go wrong, they go all the way wrong. I mean, here's Dan Reeves. The glass popped right out of his glass.
The lens came out.
Yeah, I mean, your stuff doesn't work.
Seems like ever since we've been working together, we've been talking about Reggie White and how good he is. What has he lost? Do you see anything?
Probably, he's not as big and as bulky and as just as natural and as strong. And as he said, the older I get, the harder I have to work. And, the aches and the pains, and he doesn't have the flexibility and all those things that he once had. You can block him now. There was a time when one guy couldn't block him.
Kickoff sails to Herschel Walker, who handles it about the 9. And again, those Packer coverage teams have done an excellent job. Down goes Walker by Travis Jervey.
Yeah, if you look at the Giants in their passing by distance, you see from 0 to 5, is where they're pretty good. And then if they get beyond 5 yards, I mean, they're 0 for 2, 1 for 3, and 2 for 6 deep. And that's what I think they have to do. I mean, I think they have to lengthen this thing out somewhere and throw some of the medium to deeper passes.
When your best is 0 to 5, you got to execute a lot of times.
And it's just, someone has to fly down the field and get open. I think these receivers have to work a little harder.
1st and 10 at their own 24. The Packers ahead 14-3, third quarter, first play. Brown fakes, looks deep, dumps it out to Walker. Herschel Walker lowered his head and picked up a first down. George Kuntz on the stop.
And I'm sure that's one of the things that they talked about, Pat, at halftime was, 1, throwing more play passes, or, where you fake the run, and 2, throwing more on first down. Because, the Packer defense is just loading up against the run and Rodney Hampton on first down, and then on 2nd and 3rd, they go into their coverage.
1st and 10. At least you know who's going to be playing on first down. That's Hampton. And they're going to be playing hard if you're Hampton. They knock him back for a loss.
Yeah, that's tough. You know, we said it's tough to run at Reggie White.
Yeah.
And that's what they tried to do. And you watch Reggie White right here, and I mean, he just reads the tight end comes down, and he just comes in and makes a play. Now, he's going to make the play if you block him. Now, if you don't block him, that's a gimme. I mean, here he is up here.
They try to trap him.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's not much of a try.
No.
I mean, that was Greg Bishop, the off guard, trying to come. But Reggie, when that tight end blocked down, Reggie looked right at that off guard right now. That was his key.
Lost 2. 2nd and 12.
You aren't going to make a living trapping Reggie White.
Nope. Aaron Pierce makes the catch, stopped by Leroy Butler. Out he goes.
You know, here's one of the new things that keeps Reggie White fresh, Pat. He was telling us yesterday that he gets, after practice, he jumps in ice. Look at this. This is all ice in a whirlpool.
I think I'd rather not be fresh.
Yeah, but if you jump in that, that'll freshen your whole body, he said. And then you go out of that, then you go into hot. And then it goes like being numb to being all, you know, tickles.
Makes you tingle.
Tingle. What did I say? Tickles? Tickle, tingle. Tingle.
You feel on the play.
Big defensive linemen never tingle. You know, Reggie says the one good thing he likes about being moved around.
Ball start. 87. Offense.
Howard Cross, the tight end.
One thing Reggie White says that he likes about moving around from being a defensive end and a tackle, he said what they do, they always have the argument, you know, among the players. They say the defensive end are the athletes and the tackles are the men.
He can do both.
He can do both. He can say when he's out there having an athlete, then he can go in and be a man.
And he's got a lot of courage if he gets in that tub of ice.
Yeah, that'll check you out. That'll check out if you're an athlete.
Yeah. Pressure from Reggie White. Pass scooped up by Walker. Giants are going to have to punt.
If you want to see the definition of a bull rush, you know, they talk about a bull rush. This is a bull rush. Here's poor old Doug Riesenberg. Here's Reggie White. This is what a bull rush is. You just jam your head into him and just pick him up and throw him right back into the quarterback and then knock the quarterback down.
Never forget what he did last Thanksgiving Day to Larry Allen.
Yep. Watch this. This is just a bull rush. Just a bull. He just puts his head down and just bulls the blocker. Blocker doesn't have a chance.
Antonio Freeman shakes one tackler. Another. Out to the 21, where the Packers will take over.
Douglas made the tackle.
11:35 left in the third. One of the best to ever play, Reggie White.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Coors Light. Shipped cold to preserve the clean taste of the Rockies. Coors Light, tap the Rockies. By Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers want it. By Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And by Mylanta, the antacid doctors recommend most. My doctor said Mylanta.
The Fox River in Green Bay. You think they changed the name for us?
Rupert Murdoch owns everything.
Far to Edgar Bennett, almost decapitated by Keith Hamilton.
Yeah, we looked at Dave Brown under pressure, and when you look at Brett Favre, you'll see that there really wasn't. They didn't sack him. They've only hurried him twice, and they've only knocked him down once. So what that is that's really lack of pressure, and the Giants, I mean, that's one thing that the Giant defense has to do a better job of, and they have to rush the passer, get more pressure on the passer. They're just not very good in that area.
Favre will test him. Incomplete. When he cuts it loose, it gets there in a hurry.
I know it, and he had time that time. He had great pass protection, and he had a guy open, and he just made a bad throw there. One thing about Brett Favre, he does spread the ball around. Wide receivers 7 times, only 1 time to his tight end, 2 to the running back. But among those wide receivers, I think 4 different wide receivers caught the ball.
Right. Touchdown pass to Ingram. Touchdown pass to Brooks.
touchdown pass to Ingram was his first touchdown reception as a Packer.
Far blitz coming from the Giants. Incomplete. They got to him. Maurice Douglas came from the backfield.
And they didn't see him. Douglas really timed that well. He came off of Favre's right side to the left side, and he just didn't see him coming at all. Here's Maurice Douglas here, and you see they're not counting him. You see, and he just goes like he's cover, 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 and then he comes, and Brett Favre sees that right at the end. He just had to throw that one away. Good call.
Hendrick back to punt it. Another good kick. Hands along. Harold fields at the 32. And that's where he's brought down. The punter's done a good job, and the coverage has been excellent. 47-yard punt by Craig Hendrick. That was Maddox warming up for the Giants, but Brown's still the quarterback. I was amazed at our hotel, John, how many Giant fans were there. Made the trip from New York.
All of those that are in the picture were there, and about another group.
They went out.
I know, they just put them in there and put a wall up there and let them bang on the wall. They'd like to see this Giant offense do something.
1st and 10 at the 34. Brown back in the pocket. Protection's good. Hampton drops it.
Yeah, this is, I mean, the Giants are getting to the point that when they don't have any protection, they have a problem. Then when they have protection, there's no one open. And then when they have protection and someone open, they either drop the ball or Brown doesn't hit them.
That's Tyrone Wheatley, number 28, behind Dan Reeves.
Yeah, that'll cause a coach's eyeglasses to pop out.
2nd and 10. Gonna play.
Did his voice crack on that play? Was that when the penalty was? It sounded like something came out.
78 offense. Still 2nd down.
It sounded like something came out of Dave Brown that wasn't a word. The penalty is on number 78, Greg Bishop. But during that snap count, it sounded like some air came out that wasn't a word. And I think that's when Bishop jumped.
I think you're exactly right. It was number 78 Bishop. Hand off to Walker. Got the 5 back that they lost on the penalty. Stopped by Leroy Butler.
And this is a situation where they have to put it all together now. You know, they have like 3rd and 9, and the Giants have to put their pass protection with the receivers getting open, with the quarterback hitting it.
Deeper than 9 yards.
Yeah, beyond the 1st down mark, right.
They're 2 out of 9 on these situations. Conversions. 3rd and 9. Picked off by Leroy Butler.
Well, Butler was sitting back on that one. Dave Brown was trying to throw to Arthur Marshall. Butler just sat back there and watched it all the way. You'll see Marshall come up here. He's number 86. He's going to run a hook. He's going to hook right there. And you see Butler jumping.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to take that one all the way to the end zone. You know, that wouldn't have been a 1st down anyway, even had he caught that.
He had a clear path. Moran's kick goes to Antonio Freeman. Steps up to about the 34, where the Packers take over. Brown in conversation with his quarterback coach, Steve DeBerg. 14-3. Packers lead.
You know, here's the problem. I mean, you see, it's not all Dave Brown. Here, when Dave Brown, if we stop it right now when he's ready to throw, we'll see that he doesn't have anything open here or here. The thing he thinks that he has open is here, and this is where Leroy Butler is going to jump that one. But again, even had he hit that there, that wasn't enough for a first down.
John, they got a wave going in Lambeau Field. How long since you saw that?
You wouldn't expect it.
Edgar Bennett, the ball carrier, held upright, wrestled. Now he's got a face mask. They both have a face mask. Down they both go.
Well, there's some stuff going on in there. There's a little rumble. You want to rumble? We'll rumble.
I'll hold you up. You hold me up.
Well, Cat, take a number. You know, the Packers, you know, you talked about that, you know, are they going to sit on this lead? And whether it's them sitting on this lead or the Giant defense playing better, the Packer offense hasn't been successful the last 4 possessions.
Brooks in motion, far back to throw it. Incomplete. Favre knocked down by Sparks as he came on a blitz.
Well, that's the thing that the Giants are doing more. Here's Philippi Sparks right here. He's a corner. Now you expect him to cover, so you're not counting him. He starts like he's going to go across. Then he just stops, comes back, and he blitzes. And there's no one to pick up that guy, so Favre has to throw it when he doesn't want to. So the Giants in this second half are starting to get too far by bringing their defensive backs in a pass rush.
3rd and 8, and ultimately they're going to pick it up. And you can get hurt in that situation. No blitz this time. To Freeman, first down from Favre.
Hey, Favre's a tough guy. I mean, he has, and that side right there, I think someone stepped on his toe. But he has a piece of plastic holding his stomach together. Now, that's an amazing guy playing in this league. And as he throws that ball and just zips that thing in there, he had a hole in his stomach.
Right side, right in the right side.
On the right side. And then what they had to do is they had to operate on him, and they put a piece of plastic in there.
It was amazing when he was talking about it yesterday. This has been dragged down on the draw play. The lead draw coming.
Well, now the Giants are swinging at each other. I thought, holy man, Keith Hamilton threw a punch, but luckily it was his own guy.
Ray Agnew.
Yeah, the 2 defensive tackles of the Giants are throwing punches at each other in celebration. But they haven't had a heck of a lot to celebrate so far this season, being 0-2 and down 14-3 in this game.
2nd and 10. Favre to throw it. Hamilton broke free. So does Brooks. Had it bounce out of his hands. That one could have been and should have been caught.
Yeah, they're working on Willie Beeman out there. You see the pass rush of the Giants. Here's Keith Hamilton. He starts in the outside, and he makes a pretty good move on Dotson there. And then he knocks Favre down just as he throws it. Now that was a perfect throw. I mean, that's Brooks's fault there. I mean, that ball was right in his hand.
3rd and 10.
He beat Willie Beeman on that play.
Favre's protection is adequate. Flag on the play as Ingram leans forward. He already had the first down, but trying to get as much as he could.
It was an interesting pattern. They had Ingram in the slot. He just ran a quick out and up. Favre hit him.
He pushed on a quick out and up. This penalty is going to be against Green Bay. They had enough for the first down, Johnny Greer.
Pass interference. 86. Offense. Still 3rd down.
Freeman is number 86.
Yeah, because I knew that Ingram didn't push off anyone because he didn't touch anyone and no one touched him. He was just running like a swing pattern. Here's Ingram here. He just comes here like that. And here's where the penalty is there. Oh, I don't know who ran into who on that one.
That's what it was called, though, a pick.
Yeah, there was Antonio Freeman.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he ran into the defensive back or the defensive back ran into him.
run the draw play to Bennett. Not a very popular call. Jesse Armstead makes a stop, and the Packers will have to punt it again.
These fans here don't like give-up plays. They say if you're good, they don't care if it's 3rd and 20, as they throw a 21-yard pass if it's 3rd and 20.
You know, we were talking yesterday. You were saying what a great place this is to play, and if you win, can you imagine what it'd be like playing here?
Yeah, and you go back to Vince Lombardi, and I remember him saying, someone said, how can you live in Green Bay? And he said, Green Bay is the greatest place in the world. They said, why? He said, because we're winning.
Packers again swarming down on punt coverage. Travis Jervey was the first man there. So the Giants will take over at about the 20, 40-yard punt, 2 yards on the return. Tonight, Fox presents the Simpsons Sunday Spectacular. First see the season finale that shocked the nation. Then John Walsh for a look at Who Shot Mr. Burns on Springfield's Most Wanted. And on the season premiere of The Simpsons, you'll find out who done it. All begins at 7/6 Central right here on Fox. 14-3. Packers over the Giants. Giants have the ball at their own 20. With 6:11 left to play in the third quarter. Pat Summerall with John Madden at Lambeau Field. Brown gives to Hampton. He's got some room. Rodney Hampton. Outside the 40, the 41. Doug Evans knocked him out of bounds.
You know, if they could just get some passing going, Rodney Hampton can give him the running.
20 yards.
And here they get a little lead. Herschel Walker starts on a lead. Hampton comes in behind him, leaves the lead, and just sees a crack on that outside and just runs to that outside. So they can run the ball with Rodney Hampton if they could just get some other stuff to go with it.
Good block by Walker. Here's Wheatley's first carry from scrimmage as a Giant. And if he can keep going like that, he'll see a lot more playing time. Stopped by Wayne Simmons, but he got about 8.
Yeah, like Ron Wolf was saying, if he gets behind us, if he gets a step on any one of our guys, he said there's no one in a green jersey that's going to catch him. And I would imagine that's what the Giants are trying to do with Wheatley.
Rodney Hampton. 2nd and 3. Pierce in motion. Brown to throw. Flag on the play. Sherrard makes the catch, goes out of bounds in Green Bay territory, but a penalty marker down.
And old Dave Brown was ducking throwing that one. He saw 92 coming on that one.
Time to duck.
He was kind of throwing and ducking.
Illegal shift. Offense. 2 backs moving prior to the snap and failing to reset. Still 2nd down.
Yeah, see, 2 players can shift, but 2 players can't be in motion. So the Giants had as a formation where 2 players were shifting, moving at the same time. Then they didn't set. But watch Reggie here. That's a big problem. I mean, Doug Riesenberg has tried everything. That time he tried to cut him.
Yep.
Reggie White just jumped over Riesenberg. I think they better start giving him some help.
Brown, soon they better give him some help. Nobody picked up Wayne Simmons around the corner.
That's what they did. Now things are really falling apart for the Giants because they start worrying about Reggie now, and you'll see Kuntz come from the outside. You see, here's Reggie right here. Here's Kuntz right here, and he just comes, and they don't get him blocked. You see, the tight end goes down. Reggie just draws the block on Riesenberg, so he can't come out for Kuntz, and then Kuntz just comes in.
3rd down. They're 2 out of 10 converting. This one is going to be a challenge. They need about 16 yards. They're all challenging. Sherrard, incomplete. I beg your pardon, Arthur Marshall. 86 instead of 88.
I know Dan Reeves is thinking, you know, what do I go to next?
I wouldn't be surprised. That's Arthur Marshall. That's a good throw.
Yeah, I mean, they have to make some plays. I mean, somewhere. I mean, this is a good enough throw. I mean, that's right there. I mean, he just dropped that. I mean, he has to make that play. Leroy Butler was coming here. Maybe he saw Butler, but someone has to make a play.
I don't care who you see. Antonio Freeman gets back to about the 27, 28 maybe. Corey Whitmer down to make the stop, and the score remains the same. 14-3 Packers, 49-yard punt. I'm not sure.
Well, they're just over there working on the finger. You know, sometimes stuff cracks and stuff, and you got to get it. You got to get it filed down.
Yeah, but it looks like a file you use on a nail that's sticking out or something.
You can't have any sharp objects out on the field.
Dorsey Levens. Right now for McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
Pat, first 4th down attempt of the season for the Lions. 4th and inches near the goal. Guess what? Barry Sanders stopped in midair. Credit Seth Joyner and Garth Jacks with the hits, and it stays 10-6 Detroit in the 3rd. Back to Pat and John.
It stays 14-3 Green Bay at Lambeau Field. 3:25 left to play in the 3rd quarter. First down, Green Bay at their own 42. Favre fake to Bennett. Drops it out to Levens. Flag on the play.
Flag
way late. Now the Giants pick up the ball and head in the other direction. Thomas Randolph, but the flags came before he ran.
And that's one of the things the Giants have been working on in practice all this week. Is Dan Reeves thought there was one play against Kansas City that was a lateral and no one jumped on the ball. So he showed him all the film. And he taught him if there's a ball around, everyone jump on it. And if it's laying around, pick it up and run it in the end zone. And that's exactly what they did on that last play.
Now Johnny Greer pointed in both directions.
Well, he hasn't talked yet.
Holding, number 94, defense. First down.
Now Michael Brooks call for holding. I believe it's holding.
Yeah, because the ball did come out. If you look, the knee's not down yet, and that ball was fumbled.
Yep.
That ball came out before any knee was down. So that would have been the Giants' ball there.
Favre to Bennett to midfield. Flags from every direction.
Well, Favre talked him into that one. Favre handed off and watched the play and then pointed to the referee and said that was a penalty there. That's be another one of those face masks against the Giants.
Personal foul, face mask, number 75.
Oh, that's
defense.
what killed him last
First
week.
down.
That was Keith Hamilton again, but you know the thing is, the guy that called that was Brett Favre. I mean Favre pointed to that. Here's Hamilton right here, number 75. You're going to see him. He's playing against Harry Galbraith, playing pretty well there. And he just grabs a face mask, it looks like, right at there as he's going down. Boy, that's hard. That's a tough penalty. I mean, you're in there and you're in the pits, and all you're trying to do is come off a block and grab something. You're not just anything you can get, any cloth, anything.
First down, Packers. Favre to throw it. Now he's going to take off with it. Finally does throw it, just for a green patch.
That'll drive coaches crazy. I'll guarantee you, Mike Holmgren is thinking, if you're going to throw it away, you never, ever, ever throw it away in the middle. That's where you get picked off. So Holmgren's thinking, now I'm going to look at the next play. I'm not even going to watch this guy.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is prohibited. 2nd and 10. I didn't read that, by the way. That's from memory. Screen pass set up to Bennett. Didn't get much. Philippi Sparks. Good play.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers scored those 14 points. The Giants got 3, and then since then it's kind of been all defense or no offense.
A lot of dance with no music.
Yeah, we haven't seen anyone generate any type of movement down the field that would end up in scoring or a chance of scoring.
Third down. Favre. Pressure. Fumble. Scramble. The Giants are saying we got it. Favre lost it on the way down. I think the Packers recovered.
Yeah, that was Robert Harris again. Put the pressure on. He made a good move there and almost came up with a big play.
Aaron Taylor came up with a ball.
Here's Harris here. Now watch him. He's going to go right by Dotson. He hits Dotson and then goes to the inside. And then he comes up and he made Favre. Favre looked like he just dropped that ball when he saw him coming.
Gave it up.
Woo.
Hendrich back to punt to Gary Harrell. Looking for the corner. Hoping for the corner. Doesn't get it. Into the end zone. They'll bring it back to the 20. 51 seconds left to play in the third quarter. And the score remains 14-3. Last time Dan Reeves was here, it was very cold. A championship game between the Packers and the Cowboys. Very cold is putting it mildly. I was here too.
It was 1967.
Right. Dan Reeves, number 30.
You would think, with all the time he spent with the Cowboys as a coach and the Denver Broncos and then with the Giants, that he would have been back here since. But he came in yesterday and said that was the last time he was here.
He threw a touchdown pass that day on an option play to Lance Rensel.
Yeah, when was the last time you were here as a player?
In the championship game, 1961. The last game I played was right here.
So your career ended right here on this field as we speak?
37-0. We lost the championship game to the Packers. I didn't get a lot of activity.
Well, did you check the field?
They sent me out early to check the field. I went back and said it was fine. Cleats dig in nicely. It's good shape. By the time we came back out, it was frozen. So I lost my job as the field tester and quit pro football.
Did they blame you for the field?
I didn't get any blame packages, no. They weren't depending on me to go deep anyway.
Where did it start? Where was your first game in the NFL?
Preseason or regular season?
No, just any NFL game where you first stepped on a field.
Kezar Stadium in San Francisco.
Stadium?
San Francisco.
It started in Kezar Stadium in San Francisco and ended in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
At Lambeau Field.
Lambeau Field. This is a good place to end it. Now, if I were to pick a field to end it, I would pick this field.
I wouldn't pick losing 37-0 though. That's Hampton.
Yeah, the Giants can still be in this game. I mean, it's not that the Packers have dominated anything. I mean, neither one of them, as we said before, this is either a great defensive battle, since some early scoring, or it's very mediocre offense or a boring game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Those things are all close sometimes.
Yeah. Incomplete.
You know, he's a good player is that left corner, that Craig Newsome.
Exciting.
Yeah, he is. I met him the other day. I took a walk, and I was in the mall, and I got turned around, and I couldn't find my hotel, and I saw him. He was in his pickup truck.
Now wait a minute. You got turned around in Green Bay?
I got turned around, yeah, and I couldn't find a hotel. And I saw Newsome, and we were talking about the pickup truck and stuff. And then I asked him where the hotel was, and he didn't know either. And here we are, Craig Newsome in Green Bay. Neither one of us know where the hotel is.
3rd and 8. Dave Brown trying to find out where the receiver is. Incomplete. Arthur Marshall dive, couldn't come up with it. Covered by Doug Evans. Brown couldn't get set.
But again, they just, I mean, they've come close. I mean, they've had this play the last time it was, Arthur Marshall dropped a pass, but they just can't put anything together, and it just seems like both teams are coming 3 or 4 downs and out, and then the defenses come in and play.
10 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Mike Horan back to punt it. These punt returners have had a lot of chances today.
That's all you, Tonio. That's all you, Tonio. Don't see.
Antonio Freeman out of bounds at about the 37-yard line, where the Packers again take over.
Wonder why he ran out of bounds. He should have just run up and cut back in.
Good question. 14-3. Packers over the Giants. Into 3.
Watch Maurice Douglas here. This is what they call a gunner, and here's life of a gunner on a clicker. He's the guy that can go downfield. Now right here, he feels good. He just got beyond this guy. Now he's going to burst, and watch George Tika. Whoa, he comes. Look at this. This is what takes you right out of there.
Here's Edgar Bennett on the Packers sweep for about 9.
But those guys on that punt coverage, they always have 2 guys. And, you know, just when they think they're getting by one, here comes another one. Maurice Douglas was working against Evans so well, and he gets by him, and here comes Teague, and he just ear-holed him.
That's a tough life.
Yeah, and then you got to go in, and then Maurice Douglas is on all the special teams. He's a nickel defensive back, and they earn their money, too.
The Packers had 162 yards in the first half. They got 34 now. Another McDonald's game break, and here's James Brown.
Pat, Barry Sanders had been stopped on a goal line stand on the series before, but he makes the Cardinals over pursuing defense pay. Nice cutback move. Guess what? Heads upfield, 47-yard run. His first touchdown of the season. He's got 131 yards in the afternoon. 17-6 Detroit. Back to Pat.
And nobody can turn nothing into something quicker than Barry Sanders.
He's one of those things like Russian roulette. You know he's going to have some big ones in him. You just don't know which ones are going to be.
On first down, Favre fired. That could be another first down. I think that's the tight end, Shimura.
Well, you know, Mark Shimura hurt his ankle on Monday night. Didn't really practice all week until the end of the week, so they were going to go without him, so they didn't put him in the game plan. And that's why Shimura, who Favre really likes.
Tough, hard-working guy.
Yeah, big tight end out of Boston College, and has kind of been the guy that he likes to look to. But if you don't practice with him, when you're putting in a game plan, it's hard to get him big play in the game. Look at these. Just look at those second half offenses. You know, they did pretty well the first half, and then the second half, they just went down.
Green Bay's moved inside the Giant 40 now. Look at these yards.
Yeah, look, 162 in the first, and they're only 50 in the second half. Look at the Giants. They were 139, 41 in the second half. It looked like both the offenses left their good stuff in the locker room at halftime.
Edgar Bennett, the deep back behind Favre. Flag on the play. Bennett ducks to about the 37, where he's stopped by Mike Kroll.
Hey, there's some hitting going on down there now. This is good hitting weather. Good hitting field. This grass field, real grass. They ought to outlaw that other stuff, but this is what it should be. Yep. This is what it should be played on.
Against Green Bay.
In fact, I think if I had to pick a field in the NFL, it would be my favorite.
57, defense.
We were in a good one last week, too.
Yeah, Kansas City.
Against the Giants, I beg your pardon. He can't be happy with all these penalties.
Yeah, that's since the second half of last week's game. You know, 15 penalties for 125 yards, and that's the thing that you can really talk about. But as Dan Reeves says, we're not good enough to have those penalties and to overcome them.
1st and 5. The handoff is to Bennett. There's nothing there. Michael Strahan and Brooks.
Yeah,
converge.
They're loading up in the run now. You have blitzing for passing, and you have blitzing for runs. And what the Giants are doing now is they're running run blitzes there. Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator, making those calls, just trying to make a play here. You know, knowing that they have to get a turnover. They have to, knock the ball out. They have to force something to happen here.
Here's Favre back to throw. Pumps. Down he goes. Around the corner, the rush came from Stacy Dillard that time.
That's not bad there. You know, where you start and you get to someone's backside. You see Brett Favre right here. Once he looks there and now he turns, you see he doesn't see anything. He's looking downfield. He can't see Strahan here.
Strahan.
Here comes Strahan, and he couldn't do anything about it because he's looking downfield. I think he saw him, and then he lost him, then he felt him when he went down.
3rd and 7. Favre to throw. Chased out of the pocket, and down he goes again. The protection broke down again as Michael Strahan comes from behind.
Strahan, 2 big pass rushes in a row against Ken Rutgers. He went right around him that time. Just watch here. He's right here. Here's Ken Rutgers here. He just runs that. That's just a speed rush. There's no bull rush. There's no move or anything. He just gets into him and goes right around him.
Once they get their hands on you like that, they turn you and then they're by you.
Right, and then Favre was rolling away from it or to his right, and that was just his backside to Michael Strahan.
Greg Henfrick back to punt. Flag on the play. High kick, fair catch signal pulled by Harrell at the 11. Maybe no flag. Beg your pardon. 14-3, the Giants have the ball.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles. By American Express. By Lay's and Wavy Lay's potato chips. Bet you can't eat just one. And by Budget Car and Truck Rental. All the difference in the world.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. Lambeau Field, a new record for number of people here, 60,117.
They're excited about this defense.
Brown gives to Hampton. And John Yurkovich spoils the play.
He's playing pretty well today, Yurkovich. You know, because the Giants are a running team. And again, if you're going to run, you got to get this guy blocked. You got to get that nose tackle blocked. You can't let him in your backfield. You see, they started on a double. They split off him, then he beats Lance Smith.
2nd and 10. Brown to throw. Underneath Sherrod, pass caught, but very little gain. George Teague made the stop. Couple of yards is all.
Well, they start running those short crossing patterns, and then they get shorter and shorter. You know, you run for no yards, and then you pass for no yards. Then you get into that 3rd and long, and now you better get Reggie White blocked. You see, they have to get Yurkovich blocked on that 1st down. They haven't done that. And now when they get in this situation, now they got to get Reggie White blocked because they need time to throw the ball 10 yards.
At the end of this game, John and I will select the Miller Lite player of the game, and let's see if they get Reggie White blocked on this one. Brown's pass complete, and they did get enough for a 1st down to Chris Callaway. The crowd went silent.
Well, that's the way to silence a crowd, but Callaway better watch out when he throws that ball down, because they could call a penalty on that. I know that, you know, the Giants are a little frustrated, but you know, when you get a 1st down, then you better just give the ball to the official, go back to the huddle. Here he runs that hook, gets a 1st down, and you got to watch out.
And the handoff is to Hampton, and he gets nothing, and there's a flag on the play, and Hampton is knocked backwards before he gets to the line of scrimmage. George Kuntz made the stop.
Hampton got mauled on that. I would think that even though there was no gain on the play, I think the Packers should still take that penalty and put him back.
Holding, 76, offense, still 1st down.
Calls against Jumbo Elliott. They've already been penalized. The Giants have 10 times already.
Jumbo Elliott's been doing a pretty good job over there on that side. He's playing against Sean Jones, and the defensive linemen have been giving him trouble. Be Yurkovich in the middle and Reggie White wherever he lines up, but mostly on this side here against Riesenberg.
Brown back to throw. Screen pass to Hampton. Read perfectly. Gabe Wilkins smell the screen.
Yeah, and that's just hustle by a defensive lineman. You know, that's the thing you always teach on a screen, that you rush, and then when the ball's thrown, you turn.
You can feel it.
In fact, we used to call it wheel. You know, and defensive line coaches are always yelling at defensive linemen, wheel, wheel.
2nd and 19. Now watch number 92. Look out. White, Brown ducks. Pass is caught by Callaway. Spun away from one tackler. Mike Sherrard it is. Again, that crowd gets quiet in a hurry.
Yeah, that's the thing that you have to do, is you have to make plays. And you just watch Sherrard out here. He's just going to come and run. It was going to be an option thing, but there was no one to option off. And he just caught that ball, made a little spin move, poor tackling, and then got a first down, or a third down.
3rd and 3. Outside Walker. Taken down by Doug Evans. As soon as he caught it, they don't get the first down.
I'm going to say that one more time. There is a flag on the play, way over on the other side, on the Giant sideline.
And this is going to give the Giants enough for a first down.
They dodged a bullet there, because I'm going to say again, you can't run that pass on 3rd down and expect to get first down. I mean, I'll bet you your percentage wouldn't be 20% in running that little flare thing to Herschel Walker and get a first down.
12 men on the field. Defense.
12 men on the field.
That's what happens when you have half your guys in. Let's just count them. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
That's too many.
That was right. They got them. If you can get away with it, it's a pretty strong defense.
Sure is.
If you can, it's an automatic first down.
1st and 10. Brown to throw. Incomplete. High for Chris Callaway. You know, we were talking about Vince Lombardi before, your admiration and mine for him. He had an expression he'd use when somebody asked him a question, when somebody's not covered or something's not just exactly the way it's drawn up. What do you do then? And he would always say, you react like a football player. And that's so true.
I think I learned that expression from him, because my answer was just play it like a football player. And then that's a good one when you don't know the answer, too.
Brown dumps it to Howard Cross. George Kuntz right there.
That's one good thing about having a name like Kuntz. You know, that type of thing, or Moose. Anything with 2 O's in it, you don't know if they're booing you or if they're like when Kuntz makes a play here in Green Bay, they all go Kuntz.
Yep.
You know, and then in Dallas, you know, or any place else, Moose. You know, so if you ever want to name a kid who's going to be an athlete, put 2 O's in his name, and you'll never know whether he's being booed or cheered.
A very, very good suggestion.
Get rid of the blanket early.
Back goes Brown. Callaway hung on. Broke a tackle. Got a Giant first down.
That's what they need. They need someone to make plays. Here's Callaway up here, and you'll see him. He just makes a little out move there, and then just comes back to the ball, and Dave Brown makes a perfect pass. Now Callaway, once he catches that ball, he's starting to think like Jerry Rice, those guys. Let's make a play. We have to make a play. We're down 14-3 in the road. We have to make a play.
First down, Giants at the Packer 37-yard line. Brown gives to Hampton, and Hampton gets to the 31. Wrapped up by Fred Strickland. I noticed Reggie White came to the sideline after the previous play. I don't know if he needed a rest or what.
I think he probably needed a rest because both these defensive teams have been on the field most of the time because the offenses haven't been able to get first downs. The Giants are finally getting something going now.
And Dave Brown back to throw. Got a man open. The gap closed and it's incomplete. Doug Evans, a good play.
That was good coverage by Doug Evans, or a good burst right at the end because it looked like he was beaten. You see him right here, right up on top there. It looks like right now that he's beaten, and he makes a little burst at the end, and darn near gets in position to make an interception.
Plus the pass was a little bit short. He had time to make up some ground.
Yeah, because he did have a step on him.
3rd and 4.
Giants have to think in terms of first down here. They're 4 out of 14 in third down conversions.
Brown to throw. Reggie White, he fumbles. White on his back as he did last week. Reggie caused it again.
That's what great players do. They make big plays when you need them. Third down, you're going to have to get Reggie White blocked. Giants should have learned their lesson by now. They had to give Riesenberg help. They're checking to see if the Giants are going to go for it on 4th down now.
Play is ruled. Incomplete pass on the field. Incomplete pass. 4th down.
He must have tried to pitch it at the last second when he felt Reggie on his back.
Well, Reggie has him there, and he's just throwing that ball away.
Ooh, Reggie had his arm pinned to him.
I know it. I mean, he's not throwing there. He's just trying to get rid of the ball. That should either be a fumble,
right,
or just getting rid of the ball to avoid a sack, and that would be a penalty.
On 4th down, he has time. He throws, and Brown gets the first down. Arthur Marshall picks it up at the 21 of Green Bay.
I think the Giants got a break in there. They've had, in the last 2 games, they've had penalties that hurt them, but I think they dodged one there.
4:20 left to play. 4:22. It'll be 4:20, but it's time to snap it. Brown throws it away, out of bounds, incomplete. Arthur Marshall in the area. Chris Callaway made the dive at the end.
And then now they were going to a hurry-up offense here. The Giants do have all their timeouts. 4 minutes, 14 seconds to go in the game. But again, they have to think in terms of 2 scores. So they're thinking that, that they have to get a touchdown here, and then they're going to have to stop and get the ball back and get another touchdown.
2nd and 10. 14-3 Packers. Brown back to throw it. Here comes a Packer blitz. Flag on the play. Downfield. That's going to be interference against Green Bay. They had a blitz and they had Brown down. He just got rid of it.
Tell you one thing, Dave Brown will hang in there.
Yep.
I mean,
tough guy.
He is taking a beating today. The Packers, not only their pass rushers, Reggie White, they've been getting there with their blitzes.
No infraction on the play. The ball was tipped.
No infraction.
And see, once the ball leaves the hand and is tipped before it gets downfield, that then there can't be pass interference. But see, he stands in there, he's getting that blitz from the corner, and he hung in there. I don't know where the ball was tipped.
3rd and 10. I didn't see the tip either. I saw him hang in. That's Walker. To about the 15, 14 perhaps, stopped by Leroy Butler.
See, now I think the big thing with the Giants is just being able to keep things going.
4th and 4.
There's a tip. The tip was downfield just before it got to Callaway.
Big 4th and 4 coming up, and the Giants are going to settle for a field goal.
Well, then they have to be thinking of a field goal. Then they have to be thinking of a score and a 2-point play.
From 32 yards away, Maddox holding. DeLuiso makes it 14-6. 14-6 with 3:21 left to play in the football game. Packers lead. 1,000 light years from Earth, events are taking place that could threaten the very existence of mankind. Now the producers of X-Files will take you even deeper into the unknown, space, above and beyond. Catch the series premiere next Sunday on Fox.
Well, the Giants, as I said, they have all their timeouts left, so I don't think they would need an onside kick here. I think they're going to kick it, rely on their defense, then try and get the ball back, score again, and go for the 2-point conversion.
DeLuiso, onside kick. Ball's gone 10 yards. The Giants falling, I believe. They're pointing in that direction. The Packers are pointing in the other direction, of course.
Look at that official in there fighting for it. Like I say, it's Green Bay's ball. I didn't think with 3 minutes and all your timeouts left that they would go for an onside kick. But they did. Now the ball has to go 10 yards. Yep. You see, the Giants can't step on it or fall on it till it goes 10 yards.
Or
right
touch it.
There, it went 10 yards.
Yep.
And Green Bay got it.
Brian Williams. In the fourth quarter at Lambeau Field, the Packers 14, the Giants 6. The Packers just recovered the onside kick, and they have the ball at the Giant 41.
And the Giant defense sure put a lot more pressure on Brett Favre in the second half than they did the first half.
He's been largely ineffective. This is Edgar Bennett behind one of his guards with the patented Packers sweep for a gain of 6. They'll take that every play.
Yep, that old Green Bay sweep. You know, that's a play at one time. Split backs and the sweep. There was a real big play in the NFL. In fact, that was a lot bigger play than it was in college or high school. And then it went away.
Yeah.
And NFL teams stopped running sweep. And now we see the Packers and Mike Holmgren and Edgar Bennett, they're back running the sweep, and this is a good place to start it again, the old Green Bay sweep.
Yeah, I think the 3-4 defense did a lot to take away the sweep. Now they're back in 4-man line, so you can run it again. Bennett got maybe a yard. Today's game being produced by Bob Stenner and directed by Sandy Grossman. The studio is produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. 14-6 Green Bay. Back at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, the Packers leading the Giants 14-6. This took place during the timeout. Dan Reeves, a meeting with his entire defensive unit.
Yeah, usually during a timeout, the defense stays out on the field. Dan Reeves called them all over to the sideline. He and the defensive coaches talked to him because this is a big, big play where they're going to be 0-3.
3rd and 3, and Favre fakes and rolls, scrambles to the right, now comes left. Going to have to throw it to somebody. He doesn't have time, and so they'll have to punt.
Again, that was Robert Harris. Harris made that big play. You know, I'm surprised the Packers came up with that bootleg because they tried that earlier on Harris, and Harris didn't go for it. He comes up the field. You see, he's going to try and go to that side. Now watch Harris here. He comes up the field. So when Favre goes here, he sees this, and then he has to turn back. See, they're hoping that Harris will go down with the run, but he comes straight up the field. You see right there, then he keeps containment, and he makes Favre go back to the other side, and then Favre can't do anything, so he just goes down. So now both teams are lining up on the side. There are no football players out in the field.
Right.
And you got the Giants are huddling up with their coach on one side, and the Packers are huddling up with their coach on the other side, right down here.
Speaking of football players, the fact that none were on the field, this was homecoming day for the Packers, and there's some great players in Packer history and league history who came back to observe here at Lambeau Field today. Some really great names.
And they're probably all wondering now why the Giants went for the onside kick, or had the Giants not gone for the onside kick and held them, they would have been getting great field position now instead of this field position.
Look, you saw a glimpse of the old player sitting on the sideline. Old players lean to one side or the other. Down quickly to Packer coverage.
You don't see many straight old players.
No, you don't. Bob Jeter was here. Jerry Kramer. Willie Wood.
They got
Ron Kramer.
They got their hats on sideways.
Yeah.
George Blanda was
I saw George.
I don't see him in that group now, but he was down there at halftime because it was not only Packer alumni, but it was all NFL alumni that were in the area because they're going to have a golf tournament here tomorrow.
George, of course, was great wherever he was, with the Bears, with Houston, with you.
Oh, he was super great with me.
Back goes Dave Brown. Going deep. Incomplete. Intended for Chris Callaway. Broken up.
Watch Leroy Butler, 36. He comes over there, and he is on the backside. He was going for the interception. Craig Newsome was in front. Newsome bumped it up in the air. Then Butler tried to get it on the rebound. The two Packer defenders had a better chance at that ball than the Giant receiver.
2nd and 10. One timeout left for the Giants, 2 for Green Bay. Howard crossed the tight end on the right side in front of Reggie White. To Callaway at the 20. Wayne Simmons on the stop. 2-minute warning we'll get after a gain of 3 by the Giants. 14-6 Green Bay. Next week, most of you will see a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader when the Saints battle the Giants and the Cardinals take on the Cowboys. Plus other exciting regional action. John and I'll be in Texas Stadium in Dallas. It all begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check the local listings for the game and time in your area. Our first look at the Cowboys.
Hey, the couple of sneak looks that I've got, they look like the best team in the NFL right now.
Right now. Brown almost fell down, getting away from center. Reggie White with the pressure, and down he goes.
You know, in the play before, I was just saying, well, you know, they got smart on that because they doubled Reggie, and then they must have gotten satisfied with themselves, and they don't double Reggie. Now, there's no way that you're not going to double Reggie White in this situation. I mean, he just has too much stuff going. Doug Riesenberg doesn't have a chance. I mean, he has poor old Doug Riesenberg. He doesn't know whether to take away the inside, the outside, the hump move, the bull rush move, or any of Reggie's stuff.
The Miller Lite player of the game, to no surprise, I'm sure, of anyone, is Reggie White. 4th and 7. Brown, incomplete flag. Mike Sherrard, the intended receiver, broken up by Newsome, but he's called for pass interference.
Unless he got his left hand on there, he got the right hand around and knocked that ball down. Craig Newsome, the rookie from Arizona State, has been playing great today.
Pass interference, defense, first down.
Unless he got that left hand on there, I saw the right hand look good. And here he is right up here, and it would have to be the left hand because the right hand's okay. See, the right hand's okay. Now, I don't know where that left hand went, but what he did with the right hand is okay. And
that whole thing looks okay to me.
They may have had a hold with the left hand, but that looked like pretty good pass defense.
Brown. Complete to Sherrard. Lenny McGill lowered the broom.
Lenny McGill, again, he's another defensive back from Arizona State.
Yeah.
So both the corners right now are from Arizona State.
Reggie White after Dave Brown again. That time he took the inside move. He just sort of waved as he went by.
Reggie doesn't have a lot of pass rushes left in him. No. I'll tell you, for a big guy, that takes a lot out of you.
Be in that ice tub again.
Yeah, he's going to go to that cold and hot. He's earned his money today. He's put that pressure. He always does. He's put that pressure on Dave Brown all day. And I think that all the time that we've been doing this together, Reggie White is the most dominant defensive lineman I've ever seen.
Well, it's like Dave Brown was saying, some of the great defenders, some of the guys you hear about a lot, take plays off. Reggie doesn't take any plays off. Brown up the middle to Arthur Marshall. Pass complete. Clock running with just over a minute.
Yeah, the Giants have time. I mean, they have one timeout left.
Incomplete. Intended for Callaway. Brown tried to make him think he was going to spike the ball.
That's not a bad move.
No.
Remember, Dan Marino did that last year to the Jets. He went that fake the spike, and then he threw the touchdown pass. That wasn't a bad play. But again, the Packers at this situation, when you're in the 45-yard line on first down, they aren't going to go for the spike play. When Marino caught the Jets, they were down like on the goal line.
Right.
Mike Holmgren knows he's not out of this one yet.
Busy day for Dave Brown, career high both in completions and attempts. Not enough yards. The pass is complete to Mike Sherrard, fighting to get out of bounds. But the clock continues to run.
And now Dave Brown has to spike that ball.
That's no fake.
Oh, but again, he's trying to save his timeout, because what you're saving that for is if you get so you can still run an inside pattern. If you get to the position where you have no timeouts left, then you have to throw the ball to the end zone or to the sideline. If you can keep one timeout left, as long as you can keep one timeout, then you can throw your ins and your posts and your crosses, your inside pattern.
2nd and 10 from the Packer 30. Brown back to the sideline. Sherrard, who steps right out of bounds. Got 5 yards.
I know what Dan Reeves has to be thinking now. There is a penalty flag.
Yeah.
That's probably what the thing that he's concerned about. You see the Giants are walking back already. Dan Reeves is yelling.
I would guess it's against
to the face. Offense number 76. Still
against Jumbo Elliott.
Well, what it is, it's that tackle. He tries to take his inside hand and throw it across. And you try, that's how you stop the inside move. Here's Jumbo Elliott right there. And you take that hand and you put it to his face. And you see, that was a left hand he got up there. Now, you're going to get that hand up there. But the thing is, as a tackle, you just can't leave it up there.
Back goes Brown. Incomplete, out of bounds, intended for Callaway. 14-6, Green Bay, 24 seconds left.
Dan Reeves right now is talking to Dave Brown. See, that headset that he has on is going right into the helmet of Dave Brown. So whatever the instructions were or are, they're emphatic.
23 out of 49, the book on Brown today. A busy day. There's Tommy Maddox, the backup.
Well, Dave Brown wanted to throw more, wanted to pass more, but he didn't want to pass more because he had to. Of course, they got in a situation where they couldn't get anything going, and then they just had to throw the ball. I know Dan Reeves is thinking that, because we were talking about him last night about those penalties. They're just not good enough. Then they finally get a drive going here, and Jumbo Elliott gets that hand to the face deal.
Officially, case you missed it, the Miller Lite player of the game is, and deservedly so, Reggie White.
Reggie White got a bus just like mine, a 45-footer. He and his wife Sarah bought it in California and drove it from California all the way to Tennessee. So I figured if he can do it and Sarah can do it, I can do it. So I drove my bus yesterday in the parking lot. You were in it, you know.
Yeah, that's not from California to Tennessee, though.
That was just a couple blocks. If they can do it, I can drive it a couple blocks.
Here's Brown back to throw it. The pass is intercepted by the Packers' Mike Pryor, and Pryor steps out of bounds. The Packers take over. They go to 2-1. 15 seconds left. The Giants will drop to 0-3.
These defenses really worked hard today. Giants tried to come back. Penalty again stopped their drive. Then they had to force it. Pryor was just sitting right there, and Dave Brown just threw it right to him.
Well, Mike Holmgren was saying to us yesterday that he thought that Green Bay had a pretty good defensive unit. And they obviously do have a pretty good defensive unit.
Today was a defensive day.
Yeah.
Both teams' defense, led by that guy, Reggie White.
Reggie will be back in the ice tub either today or tomorrow to revitalize things.
He may go. If he can get off that bench, Reggie right now can't get off that bench. But when he can get off that bench, he may go straight to the ice tub.
Well, the post-game report is coming up with all the scores and highlights from around the league. Here at Lambeau Field, the Packers win their second in a row this week. They beat the Bears at Soldier Field on Monday night. They come home to beat the Giants.
And the Packers are going to be in this division race. I mean, this is one that could come all the way down to the last week.
So for John Madden, I'm Pat Summerall saying so long from Lambeau Field, where the final score was Green Bay 14, the Giants 6. Be sure to stay tuned for the post-game report. James Brown, Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, and Jimmy Johnson will be along from our Hollywood studio with scores and highlights after these messages. You've been watching Fox Sports coverage of the National Football League.